After a couple of week hiatus, we are lucky enough to have the one and only Stephen Dow back from Velocity Mortgage. Velocity Mortgage, if you don't know, is a publicly traded lender. I call them a make sense lender. They personally helped me refi and purchase properties over the last several years. Stephen, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing fantastic. It's been a while. Apologies
Yeah,
for the absence. Had to kind of handle some personal stuff, but we're
yeah.
back at it. Yeah.
What I want to do here in video number one is remind people about a sexy product that we actually invented together by kind of mashing our two brains about a year and a half ago. And it's called the 90% CLTV, or the 50-40-10 loan. Why don't you talk about what a 90% CLTV loan is, and then how we took that and created something special that a lot of ORAT fans are using. And I'm here to tell you, if we go higher in rates, this 50
Mhm.
40 10 is going to be massive. So let's talk about what a 90% CLTV loan is first.
Well, I guess the novice investor, CLTV stands for combined loan to value. Basically, where if we're taking the first position as a lender, up to normally a max of 75% LTV or loan to value, um, we would still allow up to a 90% CLTV. So if you were able to get additional financing, whether it be in the form of private investor or lender, and or in this case, in most cases, the seller, if they have enough equity, don't need all their money at the sale of their property, and are willing to carry a small second, up to a 15% second in this case, for combined 90% CLTV or combined loan to value, that allow you to only have to come down with 10%. And I've
Yeah.
done double digits,
Yeah.
18 at least. And the majority at that time, sellers, 10-year balloon,
Yeah.
1% interest only. And so it really made a lot of sense because, it allowed for the property cash flow from day one at only 10% down, especially with the seller, understood the big picture. Like a lot of times they got the price that they were looking for, and everything
Exactly.
worked out for everybody. Yeah.
Yeah, this is one of the things that's so sexy. One of the newer members of my millionaire staff is Bo Eckstein, who does small business loans. And there's a bunch of small business loans, but one of the elements of small business is really getting the seller to carry back a second.
Right.
And they're doing things like what you and I would call this 90% CLTV. The other thing I
Mhm.
want to remind people about is with rates going higher, we are going to find out who the motivated sellers are.
Oh,
And
yeah.
the
Right.
beauty of this 90% CLTV loan, whether it's 15% or 40%, is you can give the seller their price so they can feel
Hmm.
like they won.
Right.
And you, as the buyer, can structure the payments, AKA the terms, so
Right.
that you win. Folks, you can go back on my playlist. There's a playlist called Deep Dives where you and I think we did 90 minutes, maybe it was 2 hours,
Hmm.
just breaking all this down. This 90% COTV loan heading into the second half of the year, which is going to be slow with higher rates, and some buyers got to sell. If you know how to do this, the seller wins with their price, you win with your terms, man. It's just going to be a beautiful thing, I think.
Well, it's happened on multiple occasions, just having to find the right circumstances and then just doing the work. Because again, motivated sellers aren't going to pop off the page for you. You gotta, inquire. You got to dig a little bit deeper, find out what the true, purpose or that button, as far as that quote unquote motivated seller. Maybe what button to push, or what as far as they need to sell or they want to sell. So typically, if you find somebody that's been on the market for a while and you present this option for them, it kind of makes them feel that, hey, they want to sell and they got their price, versus they need to sell, kind of thing where they're forced to.
Yeah.
So it's a good medium in between, because again, seller gets their price, they get some passive income to
Mhm.
offset some of the capital gains. So in the end, they get to keep
Yeah.
more of their money. Buyer puts down 10%, and if the numbers make sense, it cash flows from day one. So there's a lot
Yeah.
lot of positives, a lot of definitely positives.
Yeah, again, when you do this right, and you have the flexibility, you can get a combined loan to value interest rate where you're merging a first and a second at below market.
Right.
Something I would actually do today, and again, I share everything I try to do. My first
Mhm.
approach would be what I'll call a silent second. I'm not sure what else to call it, but let's say it's $1 million property. Let's
Mhm.
say I'm going to get 600 grand from Velocity. I'm going to get 300 from the seller, and I'm going to put 100 in. That would be a 60-30-10 in this example.
Right.
My first offer would be I'd want that 300 grand, zero payments, zero interest balloon in 10 years. That would be my
Yeah.
very first offer.
Worst thing you say
Then
is
I would,
no.
yeah, the first thing to say is no. Then I would come back
Yep.
and say, okay, instead of 300, we'll give you 280 at
Hmm.
1% interest or whatever. But again,
Right.
in a market that might really slow down,
Hmm.
I am going to test the edges of disrespectful offers.
As you should.
And yeah, and again, disrespectful doesn't have to be price.
Right.
I can give you your price, but you've got to give me my terms. And people who do the work with one rental at a time will understand what I'm talking about. Think about it. You're going to buy a 10-plex, 100K a door. You're going to give the seller 600K, or Velocity is going to give them 600. You're going to get 100, but you're going to take 300 grand, make it a 10-year balloon, zero interest, zero payments for 10 years. You'll give them the next 300 in 10 years, or maybe it's 5 years, whatever it is.
Right. Just run the
There's
numbers.
there's ways you can structure this so everybody can win. Their price, your terms. And in an environment that's slowing down, you could be a savior because they're going to get, this is what's going to happen.
Right.
There's property in a fictitious property, $1 million. It's been on the market for
Hmm.
100 days. You're going to get
Hmm.
disrespectful offers at 700 grand. It's
Hmm.
680. Why don't you come in at 990
Right.
with this different structure? Maybe the seller has on their mind they want $1 million. Just
Hmm.
structure the deal different. Give it a shot. This is
Right.
why the 90% CLTV is so powerful. If you know how to adjust the numbers.
Agreed. Actually, one of your weekly guests or experts slash millionaire, all of the above, all around Renaissance man, strong beard game. I'm sure
Yeah,
you can probably know who
yeah.
that
We
is.
call him Matt.
Uh,
We call him Matt.
right, aka the lumberjack guy. Anyway, long
Yeah,
story short, utilize that 90% CLTV, and like you said, was the savior of a situation. Don't
yeah,
want to kind of give specifics as far as
yeah,
identity, things of that nature, but helped out sellers
yeah.
that
You
were
did.
having a hard time with making their
I helped
payment,
him with it. Yeah, it
had
was
a ton
awesome.
of equity, right? Structured a 50-40-10. Um, and yeah, basically gave the sellers passive income when in fact they're having trouble making the payments.
Yeah,
And we were able to they were able to rent back to the sellers.
yeah,
They had money in their pocket and had that passive income to offset their monthly rents. And so everybody got what they wanted because then now the money that the sellers made off of the sale was used to keep the rents up and make it stay in their house. They could
yeah,
afford the payments and everybody's happy. And so, yeah, it really worked out. You just got to run the numbers. But like you said, you can sometimes be a savior and
yeah,
really figure out a tough situation for certain sellers. But in this case, it really worked out very well.
yeah. At the end of the day, higher rates are going to slow the market down, but I see
Oh,
that
yeah.
as a good thing. I don't like competition. I like motivated sellers. If the market slows down with higher rates, I can get more creative, not less creative. I'm excited for what's coming. Steven, if somebody wanted to reach out to you and run a scenario for this 50-40-10 or like thing, how would they reach out?
SDAO at velocitymortgage.com. In the subject line, just please put ORAAT for one rent all the time. In the body of the email, maybe a brief description what you're looking for. Property address would be wonderful. At least city and state to make sure I lend there. Maybe your mid FICO score and the best number to reach you in typically 24, 48 hours. I'll be in touch.
Again, folks, send them an email, sdow at velocitymortgage.com. Put 5 letters in the subject line, ORAAT, and we'll get it started. Thanks, buddy.
Yes, sir. Thank you.